Well, welcome everyone to the fifth episode of my new podcast, Pug Fireball and Company, which is the shorter version of the title of my new book about the history of professional baseball in Des Moines. My guest today is Alex Cohen, the Iowa Cubs broadcaster since 2018. I think that's right. And the minor league broadcaster of the year for 2023. So it's not often you get to talk to a major league or minor league broadcaster of the year, so here we are. I should note that Alex and his then girlfriend, who's now his wife, Tessa, appeared on an episode of House Hunters in March of 2021, which is part of my new book, as I said, about the history of professional baseball in Des Moines. So, good morning, Alex. Please share with us your background, where you are from, and where you went to school.
Sure. Name is Alex Cohen. I am from the Philadelphia area, about 25 minutes north of Philadelphia, in Ambler, Pennsylvania. Grew up a pretty big Philadelphia sports fan. Philadelphia Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, and most especially the Eagles. Knew that I wanted to get into broadcasting early on. Loved playing baseball, but realized that 80-mile-per-hour fastballs are probably not going to get it done at the big league level. So started broadcasting when I was in high school. Went to Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana. Studied journalism for 4 years. Did student radio for 4 years, and then started the minor league baseball trek in 2009 as an intern for the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, AAA affiliate of the Philadelphia Phillies. I was with the Iron Pigs from 2009 to 2010. Then after I graduated college in 2011, with the Gateway Grizzlies, independent league team just outside of St. Louis, Frontier League team for a season, and then really started from the ground up. 2 years with the Huntsville Stars, AA affiliate of the Milwaukee Brewers. A year in Oakland, California, as a media relations and broadcast assistant with the Oakland Athletics. A year in Australia as the broadcaster for the Melbourne Aces of the Australian Baseball League. Came back, then was the broadcaster for the Idaho Falls Chuckers, rookie league affiliate for the Kansas City Royals for a year. 2 years with the Bowling Green Hot Rods, single A affiliate of the Tampa Bay Rays for 2 years. And now I've been with the Iowa Cubs since 2018. So started in 2009, now 2024. It's been 15 years.
So, how did you get your start in broadcasting exactly? Was there a person you knew who got you into it, or just how did this all happen?
No, it was we started the sports broadcasting club at our high school. Myself and my two really good friends who are still in the industry. Josh Getzoff, who is the television play-by-play voice of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and Steven Watson is the pre and post game show host up in Milwaukee for Bally Sports for the Milwaukee Brewers and the Milwaukee Bucks. All three of us went to the same high school and started the sports broadcasting club. So we could broadcast anything that we wanted, whether it was powder puff football, volleyball, lacrosse, hockey, golf, tennis. I didn't broadcast baseball because I played, but yeah, basketball, swimming, hockey, just anything that we can get our hands on.
What position in baseball did you play?
I was a center fielder and a shortstop, more towards the outfield my junior and senior year.
How well did the team do that you were on?
Not very good. If I'm their center fielder, they weren't very good. We were, I think we were like 10 and 13 my senior year.
Oh. So, I know you have other duties besides being a broadcaster. Could you tell our listeners what else you do?
Yeah, I'm a utility player for the Iowa Cubs organization. I'm Ben Zobrist, so I get to do a little bit of everything. So I also am on the sales staff. So I have about 35 clients ranging from outfield wall signs to season tickets to radio advertising, and just trying to cultivate new sales contacts throughout the year. Also handle a lot of the team travel for the Iowa Cubs. So I plan the flights for the Iowa Cubs. I mean, a lot of that happens before the season, but making sure that the tickets are allocated properly, that our ticket lists are up to date. I hire bus companies in the stadiums that we're going to, or the teams and the cities that we're going to, and making sure that we have travel to and from the ballpark for wherever destinations we go to. I also do some of the social stuff for the Iowa Cubs. I plan golf outings and golf trades for our players with local courses around the area. So, yeah, I get to do a little bit of everything.
I presume the I Cubs go by bus to Omaha because that's only a couple hours away. But they're
Yes, yeah, we go by bus to Omaha. We go by bus to St. Paul. Sometimes we fly to Indianapolis. Sometimes we bus to Indianapolis. Sometimes we fly to Louisville. Sometimes we bus to Louisville. Sometimes we bus to Memphis. Sometimes we fly to Memphis. We'll fly to Nashville. We'll fly to Columbus. We'll fly to Toledo. And we'll fly to other various places in the International League.
there's probably no direct flights from Des Moines to Indianapolis, are there? So you probably have to go to Chicago or I don't know, since probably not Cincinnati either.
No, we go to Chicago. We go to Detroit. We go to Minneapolis. With some of the we played three New York teams this year. We'll fly to Newark or Washington D.C. When we were in the Pacific Coast League, we would fly out to Vegas and Phoenix and Denver. So yeah, it's been a wide assortment of airports that I've been able to enjoy my presence at.
How many air miles do you put on a year then?
Oh gosh, I probably get about we fly different airlines, so it's not consistently one airline. I probably get about 40,000 points a year.
So how did all these work experiences set you up to become the broadcaster for the Iowa Cubs?
So, I mean, I think obviously the 1,000 plus games that I was able to broadcast before my time with the iCubs helped. I think with Huntsville and Bowling Green in particular, working on sales initiatives. I think with Bowling Green working on team travel. It was just kind of a perfect storm that one allowed me to get the job, and two, just being able to do this year in year out has gotten me a wide range of experience and comfort thresholds that year one 2018 probably wasn't as good that is in 2024. So I think it's just a year on year out, day in day out repetition of calling games and dealing with situations and sealing situations. So I think everything's helped.
I should note the Bowling Green. I thought that was Bowling Green, Ohio, but that's Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Bowling Green, Kentucky, yeah, home of Western Kentucky. So, yep,
Because when I first hear Bowling Green, I always think of Ohio.
I understand that.
How has minor league baseball changed during the time you've been a broadcaster?
Well, I mean, I think obviously with the number of teams, when you saw the decrease after 2020, it didn't necessarily impact the AAA level as much, but definitely the lower levels that I'd been in. I broadcasted in Idaho Falls. They were the rookie league affiliate for the Kansas City Royals. They're now a collegiate summer league. So it's completely reshaped that. I think that now minor league baseball they care more about player safety and making sure they're on a normal routine. The Monday off days are new as of 2021 and definitely appreciated and encouraged when you know that you have that Monday off day. So it's a travel day if you're on the road, but you're able to travel even if you get delayed or canceled. You don't have to worry about missing games. So I think that just caring a little bit more about the schedule and caring a little bit more about the players has certainly showcased that. I think obviously with Diamond Baseball Holdings starting to gain ownership of a lot of different teams. I mean, when they took ownership of the Iowa Cubs in 2021, it was 8. Now it's getting closer to 38. So having that synergy among the teams and having DBHY deals and meetings, it definitely brings a little bit of a team and fraternity aspect to it. So, I think it's changed structurally. I think it's changed schedule wise, and things seem to be only changing for the better.
I was gonna say, how do you like this format of playing the same team though 6 straight times?
Me personally, like as a broadcaster, I love it because I know that I don't have to prep for a whole assortment of players in 3 days and 4 days. I know that for 6 days I'll have the same general roster of guys, and you really get into a rhythm of how that team plays and how we play against them. So I think from a broadcast standpoint, it's easier. From a travel standpoint, it's easier. From a life standpoint, it's easier because you know that you're getting your off day on Monday, and you know that you get to go to a place for 6 days, so you can unpack your bag, you can get situated in the place, you get to understand the radio booth and the dimensions and how the ball flies there. I think the only way that there's a con is probably level of play, just because when you play a team 6 days in a row, by that fifth or sixth day, you understand their tendencies and their nuances and tempers and tensions sometimes flare. So I think from a competitive standpoint, you would rather it be 3 to 4 game series. But aside from that, from a logistical standpoint, it's much better.
From the fan standpoint, though, wouldn't a fan rather see two teams in 7 days, 6 days rather than one team?
I think it depends on the team. I think you realize when you're with Iowa and you've been at the AAA level for so long, you develop natural rivalries. Like when Memphis comes in here for 6 days, it's buzzing for 6 days. But they could be coming in here for 16 days and to be buzzing for 16 days. Omaha, there's an I-80 rivalry. St. Paul, there's an I-35 rivalry. So I think when you have those teams in the league, I think the 6 day series are definitely a plus when bringing fans to the ballpark.
How the pitch clock, the three batter minimum for relief pitchers, the automated balls and strikes, challenge system, and the bigger base, how have they changed the game?
I'll go. Yeah, you talked about four things. I'll go through all of them. Bigger bases don't really recognize it. Three batter minimum. I would say that the impact, aside from being a situational reliever, like a situational lefty in the bullpen, it probably impacts them more than anybody. Actually, I know that it does. But in terms of like a hitting perspective and a flow perspective, doesn't really impact us. Pitch clock, I love. I love not having a 3 hour, 45 minute game on a getaway day. And, if it's a long game, it's 3 hours and 6 minutes, not 3 hours and 46 minutes. So I think the players appreciate that. I think that the pitchers, it took a little while longer to figure it out, get into the rhythm, but I think that they've done that. Automatic balls and strikes is a work in progress. I think that a full automated balls and strike system would be a mistake. I love the challenge system, and I love the two challenge system over the three challenge system because not only does it provide a recourse for the umpires, but also it provides strategy into it. You don't see many challenges early in the game. Some teams don't let even their hitters challenge; they leave it to pitchers and catchers. So it adds a strategy element in the game. It's a check and balance system for the umpires, and also gives the umpires some autonomy. So I'm a two challenge system advocate, 100%.
You think that ABS and the challenge system will come to the major leagues soon?
Soon is a relative term.
Well, within the next year or two.
I don't think a full automated balls and strikes challenge or full automated balls and strike system will be. They still have to work out some kinks with that, just with players manipulating their stances when they're measured to when they step to the plate. But I do think a challenge system is coming soon. I do.
That's interesting you say. So hitters can toy with their stance.
Oh, it's a hitter. Yeah, ABS is a hitter zone. Just with the 360 angle of the strike zone, and causing for when not as much for break of secondary pitches, and then so in order to establish the strike zone for the hitter, these guys get measured during spring training when they're standing upright. Now, if they're crouching over, if they're hunched back, they can manipulate their stance that completely you know provides an illusion for a strike zone that isn't necessarily accurate.
So are they going to do something to change that? I mean,
Oh yeah, no, I think it's all in a working process, like a uniform strike zone. I think that's why ABS, full time ABS, probably is not coming to baseball for quite some time.
Why has Des Moines, the smallest market in AAA baseball, actually for several decades, I think, been so successful in drawing more than 19 million fans since 1969?
I think it's for a variety of different reasons. I think it's because the iCubs have done it right for so long, combining fan experience with safe fun and having people here understand the market and what people care about in Des Moines. I think having a team president in Sam Burnaby that grew up in Iowa and has been part of this organization for 40 years is exceptionally important, because he understands what people want to see here and what makes Des Moines tick. I think he's the most valuable person in this organization. I think having an ownership group with, before 2021 with Michael Gartner, Mike Giudice, again, people who are from here. Um, I think that was exceptionally important. I think being a Cubs affiliate in the Midwest is exceptionally important because that brand is a blue blood brand when it comes to baseball. I mean, it's the Dodgers, it's the Yankees, it's the Cubs and the Red Sox. I mean, those are the blue bloods. So to be able to have the Cubs here, in a state that doesn't have a big league team, you're naturally going to have a lot of Cub fans. So that has permeated a baseball energy throughout this entire city. Being a Cubs affiliate. So I would say those three things in particular, and then just Principal Park, Zach Taylor Field, whatever you'd like to call it in your generation. Its location, where it is, what we do, how we do it, the consistency that we have with our promotions, and the fan experience that we bring. I mean, I think it's all encompassing.
Do you think they do as well if they were an affiliate of some other major league team? I know back in '69 it was the Oaks, and they were with the White Sox a while, and even the Houston Astros for 1 year. Yeah.
Do I think they do as well? Probably not. I mean, I still think they would gain some steam if they were a Royals affiliate, if they were a Twins affiliate, they were a Cardinals affiliate, they were somehow a Braves affiliate, just because of the TBS and people from here. They would watch the Braves when they were growing up, especially my generation. I think it would take specific markets and teams that would thrive here, but I do think they would. Not as much as the Cubs, but I think they would.
And this in a way you've already answered, but what makes working for the Iowa Cubs special? I assume it's special.
No, it is. It's what AAA baseball should be. Um, they do it right. Obviously, minor league baseball teams, they're looking for fan friendly experience. They want people to come, but they want to make money. And the organizations that I've seen and worked for before, they have sometimes sacrificed fan experience for making or saving more money. And the Iowa Cubs don't do that. They care. They care about their employees. They care about the players. They care about the fans. Their priorities when it comes to AAA baseball are the correct priorities from what I've seen.
When I talked to Sam here a few days ago, yeah, he did make that point that yes, they still try to make money.
Yeah, I mean every team has to make money. I mean they need to be able to put the lights on. They need to be able to make improvements to the ballpark. But I think that Iowa, with Sam at the helm and with Randy Wayhofer at the helm, they have the right formulation, the right concoction to making more money, but also not sacrificing experiences and also treating their employees well.
Yeah, speaking of employees, well, describe that day when, Michael Gardner and the former ownership group passed out some of the money from their sale of the team. I guess it was rather surprising. Can you kind of describe how that day was?
Oh yeah, it was very emotional. So we went into our skybox area, in left field, and this was right before Christmas, so we do a Christmas lunch or staff dinner every year. So he comes in, obviously, with the team being sold. We had heard certain things, so he's just like, "Yep, I'm set. We are selling the team. That is true. But what you didn't know is part of the proceeds are going to you. And he had envelopes that he had put in front of all of our seats. So we had assigned seats. And I mean, there were people crying, people who have been with the organization for 20, 25, 30 years that are making a year's salary that is paying for their kids' college tuition. I mean, it was, man, it was so special.
It was what was it, 3,000 or something for every year of employment?
It was 2,000. It was $2,000. $2,000 for every year. So I mean, it paid for my engagement ring.
And some of those people had been working like for 20 years, hadn't they, with the icons? Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I mean you have stadium operations, Jeff Tilley. You have our director of premium services, Brett Conkle. They had been with the organization since the '90s. So imagine like sitting down what you're expecting to be a lunch, and you have a $55,000 check in front of you. I mean, it's crazy. It was people were crying. It was so special.
Describe your experience. Recently, you were a broadcaster for the Chicago Cubs for a couple of games, I believe. So describe that experience. And was it all that you thought it would be?
It was all that I thought it would be and more. I think that it certainly helped that it was Cubs Cardinals the first game. I think it also helped that the Cubs hit 6 home runs and won that game. So I think rivalry wise, outcome wise, it added to the atmosphere. But then even just going to Wrigley Field and calling Cubs Diamondbacks, Wrigley, 45,000 people, day game, Friday game. Um, God, it was so cool. It was you work so hard in this industry. And I always told my wife, I was like, I want to call one game in the big leagues. And I got to call two. And I want to do 2,000 more. But no, I mean, I'll always remember those two games and, how well the Cubs organization treated me and Marquee treated me. And I mean, I'll never forget it.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Yeah, you followed in the footsteps then of Jack Burkhouse, and you probably never heard of Jack Burkhouse, but he was a broadcast. He was a broadcaster when I was growing up. I watched him on TV many a time. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you know Cubs history, and I know Cubs history, and being able to sit in the same booth as Jack Brickhouse and Harry Carey and Len Casper and Boog Shambi and Pat Hughes, and just being able to keep their seat warm for 18 innings in total, 9 innings at Wrigley, and being able to get the best panoramic view of Wrigley Field that's offered. I mean, it was I'll never forget it.
Yeah, the press box broadcasters booth I think is up a level from where it used to be.
Yeah, it's pretty high. You get you get. I'll tell you what. You have a better view of the strike zone here in Des Moines. So
Well, yeah, I was going to ask about that. So, is it easy to broadcast games from Wrigley Field because you are up higher than you are here?
I think because you have monitors in your booth that show all the angles. I think ultimately, when it's all said and done, it would be easier. I'm not used to using monitors to my advantage and then looking out at the action. So it's a lot of sensory overload. I think if I were up there more on a consistent basis, yeah, I mean, I think that would be easier. But right now being that high up with the way that the wind shifts at Wrigley, I mean, there's some difficulties and challenges. You want to make sure that you get it right, but yeah, it's definitely a little bit more difficult.
Of course, you do have a better picture of Lake Michigan. You're up higher, so you get to see the lake better. And the boat's on the lake and all that. Yeah, speaking of Brickhouse, I got his autograph and the autograph of Rogers Hornsby when I was a kid at Wrigley. I got Jack Brickhouse as he was going to the booth, and there was this white-haired older gentleman sitting down in front of me and my dad, maybe 15 rows down in front of us. There were people going up to this guy getting his autograph. I didn't know who he was. And lo and behold, I go down there and he signs the card I still have at the program, Rogers Hornsby. And Jick Brow, Burkhouse, the same game from the same game. And I still got it. What are the differences between working major league and minor league games?
Um, well, from a broadcast perspective, there's a lot more sponsors to fit in. Um, but I think just in general, the contact's a little bit louder. There aren't as many non-competitive swings. Pitching wise, they throw more strikes. They're able to throw more strikes with different pitches. In terms of atmosphere, I love the atmosphere of Principal Park, but if you go to other minor league stadiums, and you compare to a big league stadium, there's certainly more of a buzz and more of an adrenaline rush. Um, the crowd is a little bit louder on a home run. You have to let the game breathe a little bit more as a broadcast because you let the crowd do the talking. So, yeah, I think atmosphere wise, it's different. I think the pitching is better. I think that the contact is louder. Um, yeah, I mean, everything about it is just it's a little bit more. It's a little bit better.
You still have the same amount of technical stuff though at this level that you do at the major leagues as far as monitors and
Yeah, no, I mean the games. Yeah, I mean the game's the same. The game's generally the same. I mean, it's just the small things. I mean, at the AAA level, you have a relief pitcher who has two pitches and can locate one. At the big league level, you have a relief pitcher who has three pitches and can locate all three.
did you get to talk to players much when you were in Chicago before the games or the manager or coaches or
I did, yeah. So when I went down in St. Louis for the first game, they had a managerial meeting with the radio crews for each team. So got to ask Greg Council a couple questions. I went to media availability both games. Got to talk to former Iowa Cubs who had been there. Pete Crow Armstrong was there. Alexander Canario was there. Ethan Roberts was there. Daniel Palencia was there. So a lot of 2024 Iowa Cubs, but got to talk to Nico Horner, who had been rehabbing with us over the last couple of years. Got to talk to Justin Steele, a 2021 Iowa Cub. Hayden Wesneski, who's been with the Cubs for quite some time, whether in Iowa or Chicago. Ian Happ, who was with the I Cubs in 2019. So, I mean, I had of the 26-man roster. I mean, there was 17 guys who had been in Iowa at one point. So, just being able to have that familiarity and go down there and say hi to guys was huge.
speaking of pitchers, what do you think of the recent trades for pitcher Nate Pearson from Toronto and the third baseman Isaac Paredes from Tampa Bay?
Yeah, I've actually been able to see both at some points in their respective pro careers. I mean, I saw Nate Pearson as a AAA arm 2022, one of the top pitching prospects in all of baseball, and obviously really talented arm. Fastballs 98 to 100, topping out of 102, and hopefully a change of scenery is good for him. But the arm talent is certainly there. I mean, I saw Isaac Paredes when he was an A ball. Because remember, he was a Cubs farmhand. He was signed with the Cubs in 2015 in their non-drafted free agent international signing class. So I saw him in A ball with the South Bend Cubs before he got traded to Detroit and then got traded to Tampa Bay, and now he's back. I think anytime that you can have a third baseman who hits 20 to 30 home runs, plays good defense, doesn't strike out much, and gets on base, it's a good thing to have.
Yeah, that's been kind of a black hole for them for a while, third base. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I loved Morel. I had Morel here in 2021 and 2023. I mean, his energy is infectious. I mean, he's a guy who I wouldn't be surprised hits 30, 40 home runs in a season at Tampa Bay or with another team. And I think Hunter Biggie's going to be a stud. I mean, I think the Tampa Bay Rays, who traded Jason Adam earlier that day, they're getting a better version of Jason Adam back and Hunter Biggie. That's how high I think of him.
So do you think changing teams, as you say, a change of scenery, can that really help a player? I mean, people talk about that. I don't know if it's really true though. A change of scenery.
Yeah, I think it depends on the player. I think it depends on the experience that they had with their other organization. I mean, maybe he just needs a new set of eyes on him. Maybe he needs to go into a pitch lab and learn new data about himself. I think it helps more for pitchers than it does for hitters. I think for pitchers, going into a pitch lab and getting new data and new philosophies and new pitches and new sequences, I think that could help a little bit more than with hitters. I think hitters, they can learn a thing or two and rework a thing or two, but naturally, I mean, they're I'm not gonna say the same hitter that they've always been, but the nucleus is there, and it's always been there.
I had a talk with Randy Wayhofer earlier this week. We got into analytics. I'm not a real big fan of analytics. Of course, I'm old school. So. Oh, what's your take on analytics? Has it taken over the game too much, or is there a could we reach a happy medium someplace with it?
Um, I think it depends on organization to organization. I mean, I think some organizations view it, yeah, more than others. I'm a proponent of the more information, the better. So if you give me analytic information that I could use to my advantage, I want it. But I also want the old school stats. Like I do think that batting average matters. I think that RBIs matter. Do they matter the most? Probably not. But if you're going to say that WAR or OPS plus or exit velocity, if you're going to say that those matter, you better believe that batting average and runs batted in matter. I mean, those are where Hall of Fame candidacies are built. That's how people have made millions and millions of dollars. So if you're going to add that other stuff, I wouldn't discount the original stuff. I think it's all a combination. I think that analytics matter. I think that the old stats matter.
Analytics has kind of ruined starting pitching, though, hadn't it? You very seldom see, even at AAA, you very seldom see anybody go more than 4 or 5 innings the starting pitching.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a combination where like I don't know if it's all analytics. I think it's a lot of it is strength and conditioning and trying to get pitchers to develop more on power and velocity. When you are stressing the body more than you would previously, there's going to be more injuries, and I think you have to account for that. So I don't think it's all analytics based. I think it's strength and conditioning based and body chemistry based and just the way that the league is trending philosophically. So I think that analytics are a part of that. I don't know if they're the only part of it.
So are you saying that pitchers like Ferguson, Jenkins, Seaver, Don Drysdale, Marichal, Bob Gibson, they were in better shape than the today's pitchers are, starters?
Well, I think that they weren't conditioned to throw as hard as they possibly could on every pitch and pronate on every pitch and arm torque on every pitch. There was more of a marathon, not a sprint mentality.
Okay, if you this is a question I like to ask people. If you hadn't pursued a career in broadcasting, what would you be doing today?
I'd either be a weatherman or I'd be a teacher or a professor.
A weatherman, interesting. Well, why a weatherman?
I mean, a weatherman's like a baseball player. You could be right, 3 out of every 10 times and still have your job. It's great.
What would you be a professor in?
I would be a like a journalism professor, or like a speech coach.
And like what college, Missouri or Columbia or where?
Yeah, I mean wherever I was at, wherever my family wanted to live at the time. So I would find a university and or a high school and try to teach like speech or English or public speaking. So
So, do you have any advice for somebody who wants to get into broadcasting and professional baseball?
yeah, I mean I have a lot of advice, but I would say just get reps. Just get as many reps as you humanly can. If you're breaking into the industry, it really doesn't matter if it's high school or Legion Ball or junior college or summer leagues, minor league baseball, even if you just buy your own. Like, I think my biggest piece of advice would be buy your own equipment. Buy a two input mixer for $120, buy a headset for $140, and make sure you have a computer and a USB port, and you basically connect your mixer via the USB port to your computer and then contact minor league baseball teams and contact college teams and say, hey, do you have an auxiliary booth? I want to record a demo. That's how you practice. You need a two input thing. You need one for your microphone and one for a crowd mic.
And teams will let you do that. Teams will let you do that.
Yeah. I mean, we have Yeah, we have certain teams that in our visiting booth, they're not traveling. Like Indianapolis isn't traveling to broadcasters. Toledo's not traveling to broadcasters. Omaha sometimes doesn't travel to broadcaster. Memphis doesn't. So the visiting radio booth is open, and we've had people in the past come in and record demos and use them to try to get jobs. They don't know that you're not the permanent broadcaster for that team. They know that you have AAA tape in there. If you're sitting in that booth calling a AAA game and you're able to cut it up and put it on your reel and send it out to people, it's you calling a AAA game. They don't know how you got there, they just care how you're doing it.
So the Iowa Cubs are one of the few teams, in at least in this division, that send broadcaster out on the road.
Yeah, I mean it's probably split. It's split even. Columbus does, St. Paul does, we do, Buffalo does, um, Nashville does. I'm trying to think who else we've had in here. Louisville does. So yeah, I would still say it's 70% yes and 30% no.
Okay, well, thanks, Alex, for spending part of your day with us. Hopefully, it didn't rain tonight, so you can get the game in. Speaking,
Well, it's the reason that I've been looking out, taking a turn to my left is because we have some crazy clouds here at Principal Park right now. Yeah, it feels like it's nighttime, and we had yeah, it's quite ominous. So that's why I've been looking to my left about every 3 minutes or so. So
speaking of baseball, I have another book signing from 1 to 4 p.m. this coming Saturday at Barnes and Noble out on University in West Des Moines. And then I have another one coming. This will be fun. Not that they're all fun, but on Thursday, August 29th, from 4:30 to 6:30, I will be at the In Tanum Arts and Authors Gallery and Bookstore at 3rd and Walnut, downtown Des Moines. And they're going to serve root beer floats. So you can come down and get a root beer float and then go to the Memphis ICUB game after that. It starts about 8 minutes after that. So, you can make it a 2-for-1 night. Come to my book signing author event, then you can go to the ICUB game.
well, then it's a 3 for 1 because you get to drink a root beer float in between. So
All right, and then you can have a beer at the ballpark. Okay, in addition to today's podcast with Alex, a future episode of Pug Fireball and Company will feature Judy Borwick Renault, who I got to know by playing pickleball with her. She worked for the Iowa Oaks back in when she was attending Iowa State University and AIB in Des Moines back in the 70s. So she was kind of in the ground level of AAA baseball in Des Moines back when she was in college. Yeah, so with that, thanks again, Alex, for sharing the time with me, and have a good day. Stay dry.
anytime. Thanks so much, Steve. Appreciate it. I'll try.
You bet. Bye.